Hey, what's up? Yo. Episode 141. Here we go. Come on in. Happy Monday. There we go. I don't have my remote control. I don't know where it is. All right, we got Ruby, Fallon, Angela, Dan. Come on in. I got a crazy story tonight to tell. Wow, welcome. My name is Cardone. This is Evening Hour live on YouTube, episode 141. If you're new to the channel, yes, Conan. I've been on a Conan kick. If you're new to the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe, you know the deal. If you're the donating type, we got the donation button below. Go in the description and you will see some sort of donation system in there. I gotta admit, I'd rather you like the show than donate, but if you like to donate, hey, I'll take it. I do this full time. Yeah, I have been. Sadie Baker, do I know you? If I know you, say how I know you. A lot of people pop in here that I've met over the years, and say hi. We got a great group. If you're new, this is a chatty group. We chat, we discuss, we debate. It's great fun. Please join in. Yeah. Wow, it's Monday, my favorite day of the week. Before we get to the subject, tonight I'm on lemon seltzer water. Nothing fancy. It was on sale. I gotta drink more water. Every year I tell myself to drink more water, and then I don't. How's the sound tonight? What else before we get into... next week. Next Monday, I plan on doing... Boom! Boardgasm, episode 14. Munchkin Master. All things Munchkin, all hail Steve Jackson. So, next week, I'm going to be doing a, there we go, aliases. I like aliases. What's up, Sadie Baker? My mama's in the house. What's up, mama? And Amanda, how are you? How have you been? Amanda, I'm doing a show at Coney Island. You got to come check out. I'm doing this. Woo! This is next month. This is going to consume my life for the next 4 weeks. I'm one of the producers of this show. It's going to be pretty cool. Oh, yeah. What's this water and Philly stuff? I heard you guys are having water problems. Yikes, that's not good. When our drinking water is no good, things are bad. Terrible. That's harsh, man. So, I had a few things I wanted to go through, and then we're going to do the subjects. First, oh yeah, Boardgasm next week. Munchkin is a very popular card game. And I will say it's one of the games that I've played the most. And a lot of people think that it's kind of a fluff nonsense game without any strategy at all. But I disagree. And so I'm going to do an entire episode on Steve Jackson's Munchkin. And I'm going to teach you how to play it. If you have kids, if you have nieces, if you have nephews, a significant other, it's a really good fun party game. I would say the most people that you can play it with where it's manageable is 4 or 5. But my favorite are, 3 or 4 player games. Can't find water anywhere. Oh, God, that's terrible, bro. Wow, it makes sense as soon as people hear the water's bad. You know, I'm going to, for emergency purposes, buy water and store it away. I've been meaning to do that. I mean, water is literally the thing you need most, you know? Like if there's some sort of nuclear thing, or even in your situation, you know, and you need clean water, I think it's good to have a stash. So, good luck, brother. Yeah, let me know if you need any help. That's terrible. Yeah, Coney. Yeah. So this Coney Island Festival, if you're a fan of magic, come see this. It's going to be for fans too, not just magicians. Oh, I know. Before we get into tonight's show, because I'm going to be talking a lot about movies, I want to say the other day, I don't know why, but me and my 16-year-old daughter decided to watch Mel Brooks' Dracula Dead and loving it. Now, it's pretty good. I missed it when it came out. I remember we went and saw Robin Hood Men in Tights and hated it. And I just skipped Dracula Dead and loving it. I thought it was kind of stupid. But in hindsight, it's not bad. Mel Brooks is very funny. Harvey Korman's very good. It's not bad. Leslie Nielsen's good. I didn't hate it. You got a water cooler. And you have 2 5-gallons on hand. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen. Dude, you need water. It's just really, when I hear the water's bad, like when Detroit had a water thing, and then in Ohio, they're having problems with the train leak. I mean, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah. Mel Brooks is great. He's still alive, too. It's amazing. What else before I get into tonight's episode? I had a couple other things to say. Yeah. Oh, if you're watching this show in video, in rerun format or live, and there's a subject that you'd like to see me go off on or do a subject on, please message me. Suggest it. Yeah. Sometimes, hey, what's up, Jason? Mr. Mealy. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's not one of his greatest, that's for sure. But it's definitely, it's just not as bad as I thought, and some of the jokes actually got laughed. Some of the slapstick stuff got me to laugh. But I did see another new movie, which I'm going to talk about tonight, that kind of blew my head off. Look at the British Beckerfield water. British Beckerfield water filters. I do know, yes, they make water filters now that you can drink poisonous water. That's an interesting show. Huh, maybe I'll do a show on that. What to do in an emergency, like an emergency precaution show. And something, you know, there's a name now for things people call preppers. I wouldn't call myself a prepper, but I'm definitely into survivalist stuff. Like, because I like camping and fishing and hunting, I really do like survivalist. I know a lot about it. So yeah, water filter. Oh, speaking of that, so I have a thing that I like to do that I haven't gotten to do for maybe at least 7 years, 8 years, and that is I love to go hunting for spring turkey. And I'm going this year. Yeah. Cocaine Bear's fun. It's just fun. It's just stupid, you know, have a drink, smoke a joint, laugh. It's like a Cheech and Chong movie. But no, I love turkey hunting. I really do. I like the sport of what it is. You know, you're calling the turkey calling thing. So eventually I'm going to do an episode on that. I think people that don't hunt will be very fascinated by what turkey hunting is. And so I'm getting ready for it. My son just got his hunting license. So congratulations, Wolfgang. And I can't wait to take him to actually do it. But I'm now training to get my archery skills up a little bit better so I can take a bird with a bow. I kind of want to do that. I can already shoot. I just want to get a little better before I take the bow in. I normally shotgun hunt turkey, which sounds crazy to the non-hunters. Like, oh my God, you blow them up. Shotguns don't blow things up. They don't. Oh, you actually saw the Cocaine Bear. I heard that, oh, wow, what's this? Wait, water can have a 6-month shelf life? Oh, I didn't, wait, hold on. Fallon. Water can, wait, I used to want one of those radium water vases with the radioactive insert. What is that? Oh, you pour the water in and it cleans out the radiation. Is that what it is? So water, if you put it in a bottle, yeah, what is the shelf life of water? I never thought of that. Huh. See, this is why I want to do an episode on it. So, I want to do the episode tonight. I want to get into it, because I have... So, the episode tonight is called... Where are we here? Boop, there we go. Swinger Magic Show and Sleazy Fantasy. Sorry, too. Radium water visit. Oh, I'm not sure I get that one. This here. Wait, where the heck? I'm a little off my game tonight with the clicking on the computer. Radium water vases were sold. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta look that up. I do have a story. I mean, it says Swinger Magic Show. So, if you wait, I'm going to tell a crazy magic show story. I have endless magic show stories. Did I ever tell the one about the agent that tried to steal a tip from me? I'm going to write that down. I had one of my agents tried to steal a tip that I got at a gig. Maybe I'll tell that story too. I have an endless magic show stories, and I have one of the better ones that I want to tell tonight that I haven't told on this show. The other one is my Harry Potter magic show story, which is quite crazy. You have to go look. I think I might have made an episode out of it. If you look up my show, Harry Potter, I think it's in the title. But I wanted to start tonight, because even last week I did an episode on reading the Conan the Barbarian books. And you know I'm a fan of the films. I mean, literally, the first Conan the Barbarian film is literally teaching Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of will to power. That's what the film's about. It starts off with a Friedrich Nietzsche quote that's a bit of stoicism mixed in, and it literally ends with will to power. And I didn't realize that when I saw it as a kid, but it's literally teaching that. Whoever wrote the screenplay clearly was a Friedrich Nietzsche fan, because, I mean, it opens with a quote right away. It's like, wow, okay, they're not even hiding it. I like that they're not hiding it. And so I was like, that's not the only fantasy movie I like. I do like Lord of the Rings. I'll be honest. I saw them at the movies. I read the books. I am a fantasy nerd. I play Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, I hate Dungeons and Dragons. I play Dungeon Crawl Classics. I used to play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s, and I do like that game, but the new one I don't like. I'm a nerd. I like fantasy. Lord of the Rings is not my favorite. I put Conan the Barbarian way above that as a film that I can watch over and over again. I don't have the time to watch Lord of the Rings over and over again. But tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about sleazy fantasy. Why is it sleazy? All of them, every single one is kind of sleazy. And even the books, I find it fascinating. And I like fantasy movies. I like all the tropes. My first fantasy movie I ever saw. I just wanted to show this. This one. Folks, for those of you that have never seen this film, it is a Disney movie. It is not only a Disney movie, it is rated PG, and I remember there's nudity in it and a couple of really gory scenes. Oh, right. Yes, Apocalypse Now. That's right. He did write that. So this movie, Dragon Slayer, is a Disney movie that's literally like a Dungeons and Dragons movie. It's really good. The animated dragon is fantastic. It's beautifully done stop motion animation, and it's not normal stop motion. It's stop motion, and then they'll puppet it for an actual for actual film time. So it's a mixture of stop motion and puppetry. Manowar literally wrote a song about this movie called "Ride the Dragon." It's basically describing this movie. This is one of the earliest memories of seeing a fantasy film in a movie theater, and it came out in 1981, and I love it. It's not sleazy, is why I'm starting with it. Meaning, I don't want to ruin the plot for anybody watching because there's a couple surprises, but yes, the music, the special effects are beautiful. The acting is really top notch. And one of the actors in it, the main guy that plays the young wizard, he's in Dracula Dead and Loving It. He plays Renfield, which is funny that all these guys are in these movies. But it really is a good movie. So if you're into fantasy movies, it's good. There's a weird nude scene. I think you see a boob, which is funny because in PG movies you would see that. And there's a couple really gory scenes where you're like, whoa, love it. I wanted to start with that. Now, so Conan the Barbarian came out in 82, and in 84 the sequel came out. And last week I talked about it. Those movies are fantastic. Slayer's original name too. Oh. They fired. Oh yeah. All right, that's a good joke. You actually got me with that one. C.R. Mealy says, Slayer's original name too. They fired the dragon. That's good. Yes. There's a girl that's killed in the beginning. It is scary. Conan the Barbarian, I like both of them. A lot of people only like the first one. I love I like them both. Actually, I've watched the second one more, only because when I was younger, I taped it off of television. Remember when you would tape movies off of TV, and then watch them over and over and over again? That was one of them. And now we're going to get into the rest of this fantasy sequence is basically focused on two films. And both of them blow my mind. And I'm going to start with this one, which I have the Blu-ray of. This movie, called Sorceress, came out in 1982. My God, these were good years for films. And I'm going to show the trailer. It was produced, uncredited production, Roger Corman. I'll show you the trailer. Actually, I'm going to show the trailer. I was going to show this one second, but this is called Sorceress. Let's watch the trailer.
Out of an age undreamed of. An age of swords and sorcery. An age of demons, dragons, witches. Comes the adventure of a sorcerer sworn to conquer the world. And mighty magical women warriors are given the power of sorcery and the fighting skills of the masters. Innocent twins seek revenge against the sorcerer and discover one must die. Evil magic and a battle to control the entire known world. Swords and sorcery. Sorceress.
Okay, so I love that movie. Oh, it's low budget. So it's called Sorceress. It's not really a spoiler, but there's no sorceress in the movie, okay? None. Like the movie Troll 2, I don't know if you've ever seen Troll 2. There's no trolls in Troll 2. There's goblins, but there's no trolls. So I like it. I don't know what to say about it. It's sleazy. There's a lot of nudity. It's about two warrior princesses. The effects are kind of good. They're bad, but kind of good. And I remember, and I haven't seen it in a little while. I want to watch it again. I've seen it a bunch, but I haven't seen it in a while. I really, really want to watch it again because I remember the sword fights in it were pretty good, believe it or not. The fight scenes, it has all the tropes. But that's not the movie I came here to talk about. I mean, I like that movie. The movie I came here to talk about is a film. It came out in 82. Same year as Conan, the same year as Sorceress. What a year for fantasy movies. The Sword and the Sorcerer came out in 1982, 2 weeks before Conan the Barbarian. It had a $4 million budget, and it made $39 million, which is pretty amazing for a low-budget film. Hey, what's up, Ruth? And so, was that the same score as Battle Beyond the Stars, asks Fallon? I believe it is, because it's Roger Corman. I think they just reused a bunch of crap over and over again. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mealy. Here we go. Fulci. Conquest. I'm going to look it up. I like Fulci. He makes great horror films, so I'm going to check it out. So, The Sword and the Sorcerer is one of those movies. I heard about it. The poster never got me. I don't know why. It never drew me to watch. But was it last night or the night before? Might have been last night. Was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday. I just watched it. It's fresh in my mind. I don't want to say anything right now. I'm just going to put on the trailer. And you tell me what you think, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts. I need to see it again. I am going to order a Blu-ray of it. I had some things I didn't like about it, but I don't want to say. It's amazing. Here, just look at this.
Listen now of a time long past when sorcery thrived and wild adventure was forever in the offing. A deadly sorcerer is called out of nightmare by a ruthless king driven into evil. And a mystical sword is forged for a mighty warrior who rises out of legend to topple a kingdom. The Sword and the Sorcerer.
I myself raised Zusha from the dead. Little did I know what I let loose upon the world. Tell us where he is and save us all. You want me to snatch your brother from the king's dungeons for one night with you? That's a slim bounty for such a task.
Wise bastard.
Time. One man will control the entire civilized world.
Cromwell's power, Cromwell's bride, and Cromwell's flesh shall be mine!
A titanic struggle between good and evil that determines the fate of an entire dynasty. Dungeons and dragons, serpents and splendor, wizards and witches, danger and desire. And the mightiest of all heroes, in the greatest of all adventures, the sword and the sorcerer.
Okay. Wow. So, obviously that trailer looks better than the other one. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I don't know if you heard them literally say Dungeons and Dragons. So they're trying to capitalize off of Dungeons and Dragons becoming popular, which is funny because I remember that time period, and Dungeons and Dragons was on the tip of everyone's tongue, but only this many people actually played the game. I mean, it never made it to mainstream, like, you know, you didn't walk into high school and every table had a kid with a D&D book. No, 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 no. You went into the lunchroom in 8th or 9th grade, and there was one table with a bunch of pimply little men just kind of looking over their papers. And everybody knew what it was, and they would go see these movies, but, you know, so that Dungeons and Dragons was on the tip of everyone's tongue. You know, after watching that, I actually came to a realization of something. This is why I do these shows, is live, I figure out stuff, and I figured out the Sleazy thing a little bit. And I'm going to write it down because I don't want to talk about it yet. I'm going to write down Sleazy. Okay. All right. So the first thing I'll say is this movie has good special effects. Let's go there. It came out in 1982. The director's Albert Pune, and he was, I think, a Korean guy. And I don't remember a lot of Asian film directors in Hollywood at the time. And he was doing fantasy films and kind of genre action films. He also wrote part of it, too. $4 million made... Oh, the special effects, one of the people on the team that did some of the projects were the Chiodo brothers. And I don't know if you know that name, but that is the crew that made Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And again, low-budget masters. It stars Lee Horsley as the star, the warrior guy. And you can tell it's Sleazy in the trailer. You know, he's like crashing in the window and he lands in someone's chest. He also went on to do Matt Houston. And my mama, who's watching, Mama, you remember we used to watch that show, Matt Houston. I remember he had like a big screen TV. Kathleen Beller, who's the main princess. Very beautiful, very good acting. I will say this movie had some really good acting in it. She doesn't get naked, and I read that they tried to get her to show her boobs, and she didn't want to. And she was in Dynasty at the time. So, huge. Krull. I've never seen that movie, so I'm curious of your thoughts on it. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. Now, the monster in the movie, in the trailer, you see him coming out of the pool of slime, and he's like the demon-looking. He is the sorcerer. That's Richard Mull. And I don't know if you remember that name, but he played Bull in Night Court. Pretty funny. He's a comedic guy. And then the main bad guy isn't that sorcerer, believe it or not. It's, what's his name? Richard Lynch, who's like, I mean, he's literally, I think he made 200 films. He played the bad guy a lot. He had weird skin on his body because he was a burn victim. And I remember as a kid knowing him as the burn victim actor that I would see in horror films. And I remember seeing a film that he was in high school called Bad Dreams. And he played the bad guy in that. And he has a weird look. In this film, you can't really tell he's a burn victim, but then they'll do a close-up, and when he, like, wrinkles his face, you can see that his skin's a little thin. It's got that thin kind of look to it. But he's very good as the bad guy. Now, my initial reaction was, the special effects are great. Wow. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. This movie's off. Something's weird. I can't put my finger on it. There's a lot going on. The plot's kind of the plot is like a Game of Thrones plot. It's kind of complex. It's not so simple. That's why I want to see it again. Every now and then, the cinematography is literally jaw-dropping gorgeous. Like, wow. And you can see it in the trailer. Hello, horror. Camillo. I love it. So, now, here we go. It's a fantasy movie. There's swords. And you notice the guy's got a 3-pronged sword, right? So you're expecting the film to have really good sword fights. There's something wrong with them. They're kind of sloppy and wonky looking. And I know this because I studied sword fighting. It was basically my minor in college was stage combat. And my specialties were broadsword, rapier and dagger, and hand-to-hand fight, found weapons. Those are the 3 weapons I picked to focus on, and I got certified. So I know about sword fighting, and it's not great. It's kind of wonky, right? There's a lot of dick jokes, a lot. The sleazy element is mainly that every time they show a woman, she is literally a slave wench, and usually topless. And they joke about it. I mean, it's like, it's not, they don't hide it. Basically, women in these movies, a lot of them, they're just like, especially this one, they're just that. I mean, there's no warrior, there's not like a warrior female in this movie. Sorceress, they're warrior females, and it's sleazy. But this one, I mean, it's outrageous. It is awesome. I'm telling you, it's not politically correct anymore, this film. But for viewing purposes at a party and a lot of booze, it's a hoot, okay? I mean, out of nowhere, they'll be walking in a dungeon, and there's just iguanas. Now, I'm watching it, and I'm like, my God, this is 2 steps from a Monty Python movie. It really is. They're taking themselves dead serious, and some of the stuff's outrageous. But for some reason, it's entertaining as hell. What did I write here? Oh, one of the other guys was in that TV show Manimal. Now, one of the things I noticed as I'm watching it, I looked it up, and I recognized somebody's name in the credits. I'm like, how do I know that name? Anthony DeLongis. I've met him. I've met him a few times. Anthony DeLongis plays a minor role in the film. There's like a gang of dudes in the movie, and he's one of them. He's the guy that gave me the test to get my actor combatant certification from the American Society of Fight Directors. It was him. I was like, oh my God, he's in the movie. And I'm like, why aren't the fights in this movie good? They're sloppy. I don't know. It's quite out. Deathstalker. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's another one I missed. There's a whole bunch of them I missed. Deathstalker, Krull, Beastmaster. I didn't see any of them. I want to see them slowly. I don't know why I missed those movies. Movies in the old days were a little bit like music in the old days. Is you only got what you got. If your friend had 2 of the Dead Kennedy records and I had the other 2, together we had them all. Like, you didn't have access to everything. And same with films. They were the ones on TV that they would show, and if you could tape it, you'd get a copy. And then there were the ones you could buy on videotape, and a lot of them were expensive. So you didn't own every video. So, Golden Axe. I do remember Golden Axe, and I've beat that game. I love that game. I used to love playing the dwarf. I still remember the moves where he does the roll with the axe. I love it. Thanks for bringing that up. Maybe I'll watch either Beastmaster, Krull. Maybe tonight I'm gonna watch one of these. So this Anthony DeLongis guy's a master fight choreographer, and I remember these fight directors, the Society of American Fight Directors, hating upon the stuntman unions because they weren't good sword fighters. Why? They don't have to be. they didn't have to do it live. They could edit these fights. You could do a couple punches and then do a cut. Where when you're a fight director or an actor combatant, you have to do it live. And so that's the art form, performing it live. And this Tony DeLonge's guy, he was one of those guys, which is why I'm shocked. He's in a bunch of movies. He's in the Masters of the Universe film. You know, he's still around. He's not that old. He's probably still sword fighting. He's very good. I was shocked that the sword fighting in the movie wasn't good. So I'm watching this movie, Sword and the Sorcerer, and I'm like, I love this movie. It's wonderful. I'm going to watch it again, but there's something wrong with it. I don't know what it is. It's sloppy. There's like a sloppiness to it. Certain scenes are horrible film. They're filmed horribly, and other ones are not. And so, I don't know. All right, a lot of people here are saying Beastmaster is great. I'm going to watch it. Oh, Space Hunter. Michael Ironside, Meg Ryan? What? What the hell is that? I really, oh God, you guys are giving me too many movies. Space Hunter. God, love it. So here's my thoughts on sleazy fantasy before I tell you my funny story. Well, when you think of fantasy as a genre, and as a dungeon master, I run a Dungeons and Dragons game every week. I like medieval as a part of the fantasy genre because it's based in our traditional roots of life, meaning it's primitive living, it's old school, it's living in a hut, hunting, fishing, king, queen. It's that. It's what we are. It's where we came from. And so when I game in the fantasy world, it's a little bit of that. Oh, okay. Red Sonja I've seen, yes. I did like that. So fantasy as a medieval fantasy, when I say fantasy, I mean medieval fantasy. Sword and sorcery. Oh, you're going to like my story. It's a tie to our roots, and our roots are barbaric and a little more crude and rude, and, you know, our values towards the feminine side of things wasn't the same as it is today. And so I think a lot of those tropes get carried into the fantasy genre, and they're used as a thing to play with. So, for instance, in Sorceress, the tropes of women being nothing but barmaids is taken out. They take that and move it away from it and make the main people twin ladies. It's two of them, and they're twins. And so that genre of lots of skin, like when I think of fantasy, I think of skin and flesh. Why? Well, they're dressed differently. They wore loincloths and sandals, and it's not. It's sweatier. It's jungle and I guess mountains. But when I think of fantasy, I think of sweaty. Oh, where's the Red Sonja is good. And I really think that maybe that's where the sleazy element is. Now, I will say these movies are marketed to teenage boys. You know, like they're always saying, who's your target audience? Well, clearly these were for young boys. I don't know if Rick Sherman, one of our viewers, is watching. He told me he saw this at the movie theaters. So if I saw The Sword and the Sorcerer in the movie theaters, I would have loved it. I would have freaked out. The special effects would have blown my mind. I will say, Sword and Sorcery is gory as hell. Super duper duper gory. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And that's what I really think it is. I think it's like this like barbaric. It's a desire to like play around with our barbarism. The bloody part, the rapey stuff is weird that it's in the fantasy genre. It is there. It's weird. It is weird. It's a part of our history that I'm fascinated with. Now, Conan to me is the pinnacle of sleazy fantasy because these are a little sleazy too. There's a little darkness to them to these movies too, but I think they're the best ones by far. Really, I mean, we're talking about all these movies. If I had to pick one that stands out as the best of all of them, it's the Conan movies. The scripting, the acting, the directing, the editing, the music, it's all top notch. So if you're watching this and you want to watch a fantasy movie, go watch the Conans. I like Sorceress better than Sword and the Sorcerer. The fighting was better. It's simple. It's not as complex. All right, I'm going to round out the last 15 minutes with a magician story that has absolutely nothing to do philosophically with my obsession with fantasy movies. So sit back and enjoy. I love telling stories, especially true ones. They're easy to tell. I close my eyes and I can see it. Now, one of the reasons why I think I'm good at telling some of these stories and that they're very fresh in my mind is that whatever the experience was, the Harry Potter story, for instance, when that happened to me, the Harry Potter story, that if you don't know what it is, it's on an old episode. As soon as I left the magic show, I called 100 people and told them the story. So all the details that I remember now are all, it's the same as the day I told the story. I can see I can close my eyes and see the door opening and Daniel Radcliffe walking in the room. So it's very vivid in my imagination. I see it very clearly. It's easy to tell the story. I open my mouth and just relive the experience. I'm going to do that right now with another story. And that is, I got a phone call. I still remember sitting at my desk taking the job call. I think I got an email. I used to get emails and then I would call. So I got an email, hey, we're having our company party. I won't say what company. I won't say what city. I'll say this: it's not New York City. It was a faraway job. And they're like, we're having our annual event for the year for our customers and everybody. Great. So I remember I called them and I was like, hey, what do you got? And they're like, hey, we're having our party. There's going to be probably 200 people. It's a dance party and we want you to mingle around, do your mingle magic, and they wanted a show. And I don't remember if I sold them on that, because normally I'm like, hey, what's your event? And then I recommend what they should have. And normally I say, oh, for that, if there's loud music and partying, you don't want a show. You want mingling, meaning I just walk around the crowd and do card tricks and I borrow money. This is what I do for a living. I also do formal performances, but normally that's not, for this type of party, maybe not. But they wanted a show. They were like, no, we want a show and we want it mingling. We want both. Great. So I gave them my rate. But, before we got to my rates and the details, not right away, but, kind of quickly, she went, oh, by the way, this party is at a swingers club. Okay. And a popular one. Like it's got its own building. Like they own their own club. Okay. So as soon as I heard that, I went, there's 200 people. I want a friend to come with me on this one. I don't want to show up to this thing by myself. I don't know who these guys are, what's going on here, what the heck. I'm going to get it. So immediately I go, you know what? There's a lot of people there, which is true. You should have 2 entertainers. We'll be able to cover more ground. And then when we do the formal show, it'll play bigger. So, boop, I'm thinking who to get. So I'm not going to use names tonight because I don't know if they want me to tell them the story. But this person is a professional juggler sword swallower. And it's a guy who's very well known. I won't say names. If you know performers, you can maybe guess. But he's a sword swallower and he's a juggler and he's an MC. He's a very, very, very professional entertainer whom I've known for a very long time. And I knew they would be cool with this kind of gig. So I hung up with a client. I immediately called this person up. And I was like, yo, here's the gig. The pay is good. And without even blinking, I was like, it's a swingers club. He was like, yeah, I'm in. So we booked the show. Now, I remember, I don't know if he came to my house or I picked him up, but I drove. And it took us a while to get there. It was an out-of-town show. And as we were driving to the gig, we were trying to predict what type of a crowd we were about to have. And so I remember we predicted it was probably going to be kind of older crowd. And we predicted it's either going to be all white guys or all black guys or all Asian guys. And I was like, it's not going to be Asians. It's either all white guys or all black guys. And he agreed. He's like, yeah, probably. It's probably going to be all white guys. And it was probably going to be older. And so we got there before the party started. And they said, oh, by the way, normally they had this venue had bedrooms, themed bedrooms for the, and then they had a nightclub where the couples can meet. This is not Plato's Retreat, but pretty damn close. Maybe nicer than Plato's Retreat. And so they showed us the bedroom area. And they said, but tonight is our annual event. They can fool around with each other anywhere they want tonight. They can do it on the dance floor, wherever they want. And anyway, we don't have any rules tonight. Go nuts. Great. So I'm like, how is this going to work with a show? Now, I'm a New Yorker. I have lots of experience with you name it. So this to me is nothing new, nothing crazy. I see humans as humans. We're all having fun here. If that's how someone wants to have fun, bravo. That's great. It's there for whomever wants. Now, Shriners. Dude, you're... Oh my God, this is great. Mr. Mealy's killing me tonight. So we get there and we meet the owners. It was a couple. They were young 40s, very good-looking guy, good-looking broad. Everybody looked good. They were like healthy, young, 41, 42-year-olds, and they were showing us the club, and they were totally professional and cool. And I was like, all right, this is going to be good. These people aren't kooks. Ruth says, you want me to make what disappear? So I'm like kind of excited now. I'm like, all right, this is going to be fun. They seem cool. They had in the parking lot, and I didn't get to see what this is for, but they had a monster truck with a stripper pole in the back. I don't know if they owned it, they rented it. I don't know. I was like, okay. And so they showed us the bedroom area. I remember they had an I Dream of Jeannie room. And I remember they had a voyeur room that was being broadcast live on some weird channel somewhere online. Now, this gig happened 11 years ago, 12 years ago. So the internet had live stuff going on, but it was cheap and not good yet. So here we go. Oh, the couple were white. Okay, so it was like, okay, they're probably going to be all white people. So the format is the nightclub opens, people bring their own booze and put it behind the bar, so the bartender's serving your own drinks, and people dance in the nightclub, and the couples meet each other, and then they can go off and do their thing. And so people start coming in, and they're really well dressed. There's white guys, there's black guys, there's everybody. They're mostly young. They're like a really young, good-looking crowd. Really, like not kidding. I was kind of we were immediately, me and my entertainer friend, we were definitely like, it's not what I thought. It's black guys and white guys all hanging out together. This is beautiful. Like, it's not all one thing. And it was mostly like not an old crowd. It was like a 30s-year-old crowd. It was kind of like, it wasn't like a 20-year-old crowd, but it wasn't old by any stretch. I remember at the time, 10 years ago, I didn't think it was an old crowd at all. I was like, wow, it's a young, good-looking, healthy crowd. And my buddy's doing his juggling stuff, and I'm walking around, and I'm doing what I normally do. Hey, yo, what's up? You want to see some magic? I'm the entertainer tonight. Entertainer? People didn't know there was an entertainer. So I was doing magic for people, and this is the first like 30 minutes. I think we were booked to we did 2 hours of walk around and then a short show is what we were booked for. 15-minute show, short. So as people are coming in, the first thing I noticed is almost a lot of people would say to me, they would go, yo, come here. And I'm doing card tricks. I'd be, what? They would be like, do you know what this place is? And I'm like, of course I would know. What's wrong with you? How would I not know what this job is for? Oh, okay. Like, they were scared from what I was about to witness. Almost like, I can't believe how this guy's acting normal in, there's like literally a Molotov cocktail of sex that's about to happen at any moment. And it didn't start, like, I didn't see any of it. I was like, all right, it's just a nightclub. So I'm doing magic. I look over, my buddy's juggling, and he's doing all his stuff, and I'm doing magic, and then it starts. There's someone's boobs, and then I'm walking up to people as it's starting, like, oh, okay, what's up? Literally, what did Ruth say? You want to make something disappear? Like, yeah, okay, that joke. I don't think I said it once, but a lot of people were joking with me, and it was just like, there it was. Now, at the time, I was married, and I had 2 little kids, and I'm happily married, and it's fun to be in this world of insanity and watch it, but I had no desire. I wasn't, like, turned on. I'll be quite honest. That kind of stuff doesn't turn me on. It almost becomes, I feel like an anthropologist when I'm in those situations, like studying humanity. I know people, it turns people on. Great. It doesn't turn me on. I can watch it from afar and admire it for what it is, and admire that people admire. And my buddy, I think he would probably say the exact same thing. So it's getting wilder and wilder, and I'm just like, wow. At one point, they had a chair for ladies to sit in naked that had a device that made booze come out of here. So you could have whiskey shoot out. I mean, it was, okay. So it's getting crazier and crazier and crazier, and there's just like 3 people here, 4 people here. It just starts to go. And it's like a quarter till the end of the hour, and we are supposed to like stop working a little bit early to prepare for this stage show. They had like kind of a staging area. And oh my God, okay. I have a story about that. C.R. Mealy says, bet it stunk like a zoo on a hot day. Wow, that's such a specific smell. I have something, remind me, I have a story about that before we end the show. So, I tell my buddy, hey, they ain't gonna watch our show. Like, there's no point in doing a show. Let's tell them, the bosses, let's just keep doing the mingle. The mingling was going great. People were it wasn't like people would stop fooling around to watch my magic. They really would. And I was quite impressed. But so we went into the office. They had a little office. And we went in and I said to the boss, hey, I've done 1,000 shows. No joke. Literally 1,000 shows. Over 1,000 shows. And we think, both of us who've both done thousands and thousands of shows, we should just do walk around. These guys, there's no one's going to watch. And the owner guy was like, oh, no. Go do the show. They'll watch. And we were like, yeah, I'm telling you, they're not going to watch. He's like, no, I'm telling you, they're going to watch. And he was very insistent that we did the show. And the show is going to be a little bit of a sideshow. My buddy swallows swords. He juggles. I do razor blade eating and some other stuff. I forget what else I did. He's like, no, do the show. So we're setting up, and dude, I remember setting up our show and looking around the room being like, oh God, no one's going to watch this. And so there it was, microphone. Hey, what's up, everybody? Everybody stopped and watched the show. And they were very respectful. They clapped, they went apeshit, and the show was over. And I was like, wow, what a polite, awesome group of people. Really, they were really cool. And I remember we were done, and we had a far drive home, and both of us had jobs in the morning. I forget if I had a bar mitzvah or he had both of us had morning work. And it was a Saturday night, and I think it was a Friday night. I'm remembering it was a Friday night. I can look this up, actually. I have all this stuff on paperwork. And the bar mitzvah was Saturday morning. I'm pretty sure I had a bar mitzvah. So I had to get up early. And we were in the office, and the dude was like, yo, you sticking around? I was like, huh? He goes, yeah, you guys should just stick around and party with us all night. And I was like, I got a bar mitzvah in the morning, and, we had good excuses to go. And I was like, if I was single, would I have stuck around? I might have stuck around a little longer just to see how crazy it got, but it was definitely starting to get a little nutty. And so we left, and we had lots of laughs on the way home, and it's a really great memory. And I know one of the definitions of a good performer or a master entertainer is somebody who can perform in any situation. And now I can say I can pretty much perform in any situation. I really can. I've done everything from funerals to weddings to swinger club events. So now, as for a zoo on a hot day, this is where I'm going to end my story. I once got talked into going to a swinger party that you had to pay a lot of money. And I got talked into it because there was a girl that wanted to go check it out that I knew, and you can't go alone. If you ever watch movies about Plato's Retreat, you can't show up to a swinger event solo. They won't let you. If they did, it would be all guys. All sweaty, old, horny guys. So nope. You got to show up with a couple. So I went in with this girl, and I don't want to tell the whole story because within minutes, they had a room for the sexy time stuff that had 6 giant large beds. And it went from, I remember looking in there, there was like there was a dance club and then that. So I was like, all right, we're just going to go to the dance club and dance around. And at one point, like not too long after I got there, I went to look in the sex room with the girl. We were like, let's just go look. So we look in, and what did he describe it as? A hot, sweaty day at the zoo? Is that what you wrote? Oh, yeah. I'll bet it stunk like a zoo on a hot day. Well, it did. I could smell it coming out of the room, and it gagged me, and we didn't stay much longer. I still remember it. It was just like mounds of humans, and just like, I was like, oh, wow. Ooh, the body smell thing. Ooh, out. Bye-bye. Couldn't handle it. So there's my, yes, I'm not into swinger clubs. But, I mean, again, bravo. That I know it's people really adore that is a thing that exists. It's very Roman. Wow. So when you think of magic and magicians, people don't realize some of the crazy stuff, some of the events that we get booked for. I've told the stories about some of the sad shows I've had to do that even telling the story, I get choked up. Getting hired to perform for people that are dying, I've done a handful of times now. It's really harsh, but I value it a lot. I do. It's an honor to be asked to be part of someone's exit. They want to, I can't even process that, it's very cool. I've also done, I've performed at a funeral, and I'll never forget it. Beautiful times. And then, it goes from that to this, to that. I mean, dude, you name it. They need people to do something to keep people busy, and magicians get a lot. I would say magicians get the most. You don't hire a juggler to do a performance for 2 people, but you will hire a magician to entertain 2 people. I've done it a million times. A date wants a magician just for them. I have a client who's an artist who a few times has hired me to do a show. One of them I remember. He'd planned a day where he was taking his wife around the city for different little things for his anniversary. And one of them was they wanted to go to the park, and I just out of nowhere start doing magic for them. When I get booked for that, that's the coolest gig in the world. I'm literally a surprise in a park. That same artist, his name's Pablo Helguera, and he's a very famous artist that's a friend of mine now. We made friends. He's a brilliant artist. One of the times he hired me, he was doing a walking tour of New York. I believe the subject was surrealism, but the element... Oh, my phone's ringing. Why is it ringing? I set it on not ring. I hate it when it does that. So that was a client, which I'm going to... So the event was they were going around the city, seeing museums and surrealism. And throughout the day, he was giving lectures. It was like a package deal. And one of the moments, they were going to be eating dinner in a restaurant. And then out of nowhere, I just start doing magic. And we planned it so that I was eating right beside them. And so they're eating, and I was eating, and I acted like, they weren't there. And then out of nowhere, I forget how it began. I might have started just clapping, or I was making noises, and they were like, "Who's that weirdo?" And then they were like, "Oh man, he's part of the show." And so when magicians get asked, most magic guys I know, when they get asked to do that stuff, they really love it, and I do too. And I love sharing these stories. I learn about life by being a part of all these things in different walks of life. I see different value systems. I'm in the belly of the beast. I get to see the world from their point of view. Like at that swinger club, I was the only outsider at that event. I've been hired by some very famous nefarious groups of humans that are famous for sometimes breaking the law. And when I'm doing those kind of shows, I'm in the middle of something no one gets to see, and I value that a lot. I'm not condoning some of these guys and what they do, but it's an honor to be trusted enough to be asked to be around some of this stuff. So, again, for me, it's all learning, and I'm learning about all the different value systems of the world, and I couldn't think of a better gift of a job to have, especially for a magician. So, wow. Whew, what an episode. I'm tired. A lot of talking. Oh, okay. I just got a text from a really famous magician writer that I'm going to message. It says, busy tonight, but we can chat tomorrow. He's part of my Conjurers convention. If you are ever interested in a book about the nuance to performance, this gentleman who just messaged me, his name is Ken Weber. And if you are a magician, I don't care if you're David Copperfield or not, you've heard of Ken Weber. He wrote a book called Maximum Entertainment, and it's about how to get the most out of your performance. So if you're a magician or any type of performer, he's going to lecture at my Conjurers convention. So it's an honor to have him, and he just messaged me, so I'm going to chat with him tomorrow. Wow. I hope you liked tonight. I had fun tonight. Pheromones. I had a blast. I love telling stories. I can close my eyes and remember them. I can remember the lighting. I can remember the smells. I have a very vivid memory of some of these, and I like sharing them because when I'm dead, these stories are gone. And I think people can learn from them a little bit about different values. Whenever you're mad at somebody, anybody out there, just think about this. Whenever you're angry about somebody doing something, whether it be political stuff or religious stuff or anything for that matter, stop and pause because you're judging a value system. That's what it is. You're mad because you're mad because their values are clashing with yours. And when I noticed that at an early age, it made me want to learn the behind stories. Where did these values come from? And that's why when I started reading philosophy books, my mind was blown, because that's what it is. You're studying the nuance to where these things came from. I mean, Nietzsche, the genealogy of morals. I mean, he's literally going through the genealogy of this stuff, of how value systems developed. And to me, that's what I'm basically going to do for the rest of my life now, is study that. It's become my favorite thing. So I hope you're having fun with these shows. If you're new to the show, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. It's the least I can ask. Donations, sure, I love them. I don't say no. I perform full-time for a living, and so hallelujah, thank you very much. And participate, tell your friends. I'm just trying to have fun, and we have a really funny group in here. I mean, Mr. Mealy's killing me today with there's some good stuff in here. I'll see you next week. I'm going to be doing a Boardgasm next week. And here's Boardgasm. That's next week. April 3rd. Good God. I can't believe it's already April. The end of the week. It's going to be spring. Like, what is spring? But it's going to be warm soon. So get out there and get some spring air. I'm going to do a show on turkey hunting. And Party on Wayne. I'm going to take us out with the trailer, the end credits, and I'll see you next week. Best story ever. Thank you. I love telling stories, you know, and I'm flattered that there are people that enjoy listening to them. I've got even more, but I have a handful of magic stories like that one that I probably should write them out, maybe. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Camillo, Jason, everybody that jumps in here. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Party on.